Yo, what's good folks? It's KnightmareFrame coming at you with a new Warframe video, here with episode 7 of the ultimate Eidolon hunting guide. What an insane journey. We're finally here, boys and girls. This episode is all about Chroma. I'm going to dive deep as to what makes him the ideal and optimal meta DPS for these hunts. I'll be going over his gear, the role, the Warframe himself, and weapon builds, positioning, focus school, and tips and tricks. For those who missed out on the other frames and information, do go check out the previous episodes. The link to the whole series will be in the description. If you felt that I missed something or I'm not mentioning something, it's because I clearly covered it in the previous episodes. Since I will assume you have all the knowledge you need to finally start with this role. Since this role is a bit advanced in the sense that you would need to have focus schools and their waybounds unlocked. And this isn't the first role you should look into if you're just getting into Eidolon Hunts. In terms of focus, you need to be under the Untitled focus school, because aside from being the main Eidolon DPS, you are the secondary buff to the Maderai users. Volt provides critical damage with his shields. You provide Untitled Wisps. You of course want to max out the Untitled Wisp way node. Void Blasting has a 100% chance to spawn Wisps, and Wisps grant 100% void damage for 12 seconds. You can pick up a new Wisp to refresh the duration, and this is the sound it makes when you pick them up. It sounds like picking up ammo, and since operators can't pick up ammo, when you hear that sound means you definitely got one, because sometimes it can be hard to spot them if you're not used to it yet. And to optimize your Void Blast, you want to max out Basilisk Gaze. This increases your Void Blast range by 60%. Void Blasting does not consume amp energy, but rather your operator's energy, meaning you need to max out and unbind Void Siphon and Void Flow from Zenuric. The great thing about this is that you can use energy pads to replenish your energy for continuous blasting. Untitled Wisps look like Cetus Wisps, but with a little yellow glow to them. Another crucial thing about everyone in the squad is that they should not, under any circumstances, take fetch or vacuum. You don't want to steal wisps from everyone else. Let's talk about a very useful thing that Chromas should learn, and that is fast charging. This refers to charging a single lure and having it ready to take down the terrorist. In my previous videos, I talked about void dashing to the Vomvalist for spawn location, how the Maderai users dash to a location to spawn Vomvalist. Now we take a look at Chroma's perspective. When you load in, you want to get into your Archwing, dash up, and mark the general location of where the terrorist is spawning from, while the 3 Maderai users dash. This will make force spawning more efficient if everyone loads in together. If all 3 Maderai users dash together, there will be 3 VOMs. But if only 2 people have loaded in and they dash, you will only get 2. So as the Chroma, when you spawn in, wait a bit till the rest of your squad spawns in. But then again, people just have terrible loading times. Now, we head off to the right, and you're going to stop yourself by this set of rocks right here, and wait for Vomvalist to spawn. Take down the lure, hack and kill Voms to charge your lure. Unfortunately, sometimes you don't get the Voms to spawn. Usually you will charge the lure in one go, but of course when the spawns hate you, you can always fly back to the 4 spawn location for more Vomvalists. Try to always shoot down the Vomvalist that is tethered to the lure first. Once you get your lure charge, blink straight to the terrorist and take it down. If they still haven't taken down the shields, you can always void blast for wisps to buff their damage, but make sure you charged your Vex armor before you shoot the Synovia, or else you're basically tickling it. Now let's talk about how to spawn wisps, since they're different phases of the hunt. The more common phase is when the Eidolon Synovia is shot down and the Eidolon is staggered. You can go into your operator and blast her on the knee, thigh, and calves of the Eidolon. You want to be spamming wisps as soon as the Eidolon gets staggered during the sentient energy spike, and a bit bit when they're getting up just before the shield phases. This will give enough wisps for people who are proccing Virtual Shadow, or the Hero pressing 4, or that Vault that is placing shields. During the energy spike, you can go in and out of your Warframe to quickly blast and back into your Warframe. You want there to be enough wisps for everyone so they can deal as much damage to the Eidolon shields. Unfortunately, you can't control how many wisps people get, because sometimes one person can suck up all the wisps and not let anyone else get any, so you want to keep spamming. Wisps will be spawning right between the legs, so Maturite users need to be sure to get in there and grab them in time. The second way of spawning wisps is during the water shields, after socketing the shards into the shrine and waiting for the Gauntless or the Hydralisk to spawn. They'll be taking their sweet time rising from the water. You want to spam down into the ground right at the shore, since for some weird reason the hitboxes are larger at this particular phase. The only time where you'll be doing it slightly differently is during the far spawn. You want to face away from the Eidolon and blast into the ground, like so. But also keep an eye out for your Chroma's buffs, energy, and also to shoot the Eidolon in between the invulnerable phases to rack up your sniper's combo counter. Let's quickly have a look at the builds. Here we have my Chroma built for Eidolons. In the aura, I'll be running enemy radar. And no, you do not need Deadeye. If you have 300% or more power strength, base damage mods will be redundant, meaning Serration and Hornet Strike will be swapped out for another element or multi-shot, even a Riven. The reason why I'm using enemy radar is to help the team spot Vomvalist easily on the minimap, especially for Trinity and you as the Chroma when charging lures. Handspring in the Exilis for that 160% knockdown recovery. If you have primed Sure-Footed, go for it. And I'll be using quite a bit of power strength in this build, with Transient Fortitude, Blind Rage, Umbral Intensify, and Augur Secrets. This will give me 322% power strength, which brings my Fury buff to 885%. Vex armor is split into two buffs, Fury and Scorn. Fury is the offensive buff, and Scorn is the defensive buff. Damage to health will grant you Fury, and shields will grant you Scorn. To maintain this buff for a decent duration, I'll be using Primed Continuity and Narrow-Minded. As a Chroma, you're very selfish, so range does not matter. Streamline for some efficiency to help out just a little bit, and if you don't mind the energy pad spam, then you can swap out Streamline for natural talent.
Pardon me, isn't that an iffy mod for Chroma?
No, it's not. It increases your casting speed by 50%, making your elemental ward almost instantaneous. And finally, vitality for some health. And as a Chroma, you don't need defensive mods since your Vex armor gives you all the defenses you need, especially in Eidolon Hunts. And as for the arcanes, I'm running dual arcane momentum for crazy amounts of reload speed, which work very well for the snipers I use in my hunts. But first, let's take a look at my Chroma's elements. Let me introduce you to Neon Chroma. The element effect is based off of your emissive color. I'm running green, which will make me a toxic Chroma, which will increase my reload speed when active. Very useful in Eidolon Hunts. As for one of my favorite snipers to use in the hunts, I give you Vectis Prime. Also, how I build my Chroma for Vectis, I turn it into Machine Gun Vectis. The great thing about Vectis is that you can reload while you're still scoped in, and not to mention the reload time is fairly short, but with all the reload speed buffs I'm getting, you don't even notice that you're reloading, hence the name Machine Gun Vectis. But you just need to get used to the recoil. I have a Riven, of course, which grants me 171.9% crit chance and 92.8% multi-shot with negative puncture. The build is very straightforward. Split chamber for multi-shot, point strike for crit chance, vital sense for crit damage, and now this bottom section is what is most important. Hellfire and Stormbringer combined will grant me radiation damage. That's heat and electricity. And there is a third element mod, Primed Cryo Rounds. This grants me 165% cold damage. The Eidolons have alloy armor and are weak to radiation and cold, and a little bit of puncture, which makes this combination perfect for Eidolon hunting. And lastly, I'm using Vigilante armaments for even more multi-shot. Multi-shot is important for damage, but it also helps stack your combo counter even faster. Just like melee weapons, snipers have combo counters. The higher the combo, the more damage you deal. But vigilante mods also give another boost to damage, and that is additional critical hits for your primaries. And since it's a vigilante mod, it's part of a set. When you use more mods with the vigilante prefix, you gain bonuses to its set effect. Some of you know where I'm going with this. Now moving down to our Sentinel Weapon. As you can see, it's nothing special, but what matters are the 3 vigilante mods. Unfortunately, duplicates don't benefit the set in any way, as they don't add up. You can use this on any primary Sentinel weapon and put it on any Sentinel, but I prefer my carrier. And remember, you don't use vacuum. Now moving on to my second favorite sniper, and that is the Snipetron Vandal. My Riven grants me 180.4% crit chance, 141% crit damage, and 76.3% fire rate with a negative zoom. Would have loved multi-shot, but you get what you get. The build is pretty much the same as the VIDS, but in different order, which makes no difference at all. It provides a decent damage output, especially with how I built my Chroma. Only thing that it lacks is in the base damage department. The VIDS, of course, has the highest base damage out of all snipers. You may wonder why I don't use the Rubico. Well, it's too meta. Even though I have a ribbon for it, I just don't feel like using it. And the weapon I use to instantly and efficiently buff my Fury is the Sarata. It's a billion times faster than spamming ninja stars into the ground, because Sarata goes through shields and damages your health, which is insanely useful and efficient. This build is very simple. The one key mod here is Power Throw. This adds punch through, which allows this weapon to deal self-damage. Next, you stack it with a lot of attack speed mods. Amalgam Organ Shatter speeds up the charge attack, and for the elements, just add Toxin mods. No damage mods or anything. If you can get yourself a Riven, get attack speed and Toxin with a negative, of course. Alright, let's talk about everything that the Chroma does in the hunts. Number 1, always make sure you're the host. Being the host allows you to load in first into the plains to mark and get things going, and also when you finish the hunt, you can easily restart by going into Cetus and back into the gate. If you can't host, then that will slow down the hunts. What can I say? Also, having fast loading times speeds up the hunts even more. Even if you have all the OP builds, know all the cool strats, tips and tricks, if your net and computer hold you back, then that's a big kick in the gonads. Second, we get into the plains. Wait a little for your squad to load in, but not too long. Mark the Terrorless spawn, and head off to fast charge the lure. Once that's ready, blink to Terry and start DPSing. As the Chroma, it's your job to control the positioning of the Eidolon, meaning you need to juggle the Eidolons left and right, alternating between the left and right Synovias. Shooting it on the right will move it to the left, shooting it on the left will move it to the right. You need to keep the Eidolon in a loop. It's always better to be in a controlled environment. Saves the Volt from placing ridiculous amounts of shields everywhere. Also, try your best to avoid getting the Eidolon into the water. Magnetic procs are quite annoying. Also, if it's daytime and the Eidolon is touching the water, your hunt is officially over. It will become invulnerable and start retreating. That's why it's your job to control the Eidolon's positioning. Moving back, when you get to the Terror list, your Trinity will drop 2 lures for you. Take control of these lures and try your best to charge all 3. You need 2 to capture the Terror list, but having the 3rd lure charged will save you time, especially when you start the Gauntlet fight, because that 3rd lure will be charged and ready to go. In the downtime phases, this is where you spawn Untitled Wisps, and when the Eidolon is down calling for help, keep shooting into the Eidolon to build up your combo counter. When the Eidolon rallies, you will have Volt Shields and hopefully Covenant from Harrow, along with your nicely built up combo counter. This will definitely destroy the Eidolon. As soon as you take down the head, get into your Arcwing and head to the shrine. Once you land on the shrine, spam your interact key to halt the lures. This is called porting the lures. If the Terror list is near to the shrine, there's no need to use your Arcwing. This saves you time by having the loot ready to go at the shrine. so you have everything ready to start the next fight. If by any chance you did not get the third lure charge, make sure you sacrifice your shard first and head to the Vombulus 4 spawn location to fast charge that third lure. As a Chroma, you will teleport the lures twice to the shrine during the hunt, once after the Terrorist and lastly after the Gauntlet, because during the final fight with the Hydralist, Trinity will have all 3 lures and it is her job to teleport those lures to the exit ready to loot and head out. There is one spot that can be tricky to some, and that is the far spawn. After spawning Wisp, a bullet jump and aim glide to shoot the right shoulder. This will push the Eidolon to the left and onto land. I always suggest shooting the shoulders and the biceps synovias first before the knees, but then the Eidolons can be very annoying and move their arms randomly, so don't waste time and shoot whatever that can be shot, but make sure it's on the correct side. So after shooting its synovia, you want to be behind the Eidolon and spam for Wisp from the back of the knee. This is the most optimal angle during far spawn. For perfect far spawn juggle, you would need to stand behind the Eidolon always. Now that you're behind, you want to shoot him twice on the left side to move him twice to the right and into the water. While you're still behind the Eidolon, now you want to shoot the right synovias twice to move him back to land. And the final shot will be on the left and the Eidolon is on land, ready to be finished off and captured. For easier far spawn juggle, just shoot the Eidolon 3 times towards the land and 3 times back. It's the same result, but more movement. There are those who want to keep it simple, and there is another lure location that the Chroma can head for, and that is the left spawn. Grab the lure and blink to the 4 spawn location, but this highly depends on everyone to load in at the same time, so that you can have Vombulus ready and waiting for you. Chroma is the role everyone wants to play, but they don't know how much work goes into this role, and I have a little something special for those guys.
I wanna be the very best, but no one ever was. To catch them is my test, to train them's not my cause. I will travel across the plains, searching far and wide. Teach Eidolons to understand, see Chroma and go hide. Eidolons, it's a 6x3. I know it's my destiny. Eidolons, hero did not press for. How is that roll so hard? Eidolons, this hero's a new. Our Trinity will pull us through. You see me and I kill you. Eidolons, gotta catch them both. Gotta catch them both.
I'm not sorry for that. Alright folks, this is the ultimate Eidolon hunting guide for Chroma. I tried to pack in everything I know, and if I missed something that was not mentioned in the previous videos and this video, please drop it down in the comment section. And that's been it for me, guys. I do hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, feel free to leave a like, share, and
subscribe
for more Warframe content, and of course, so much more. Do refer to the description. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.